They said Hamas beheaded babies. They said hospitals were terror headquarters. They said they were protecting civilians while bombing the very safe zones they created. Lie after lie after lie. This is the systematic deception campaign that Israel ran during this Gaza conflict. A propaganda machine so sophisticated, so relentless, that it fooled major news outlets, social media, influenced world leaders, and millions of people worldwide. We are past the point of speculation. We are past the point of just a bunch of opinions. These are documented lies exposed by independent investigators, human rights organizations, and journalists who actually went to the place and checked the facts. So we're going to reveal over 40 specific lies that Israel officials told the world and how each one was systematically debunked when the truth finally came out. Let's start with the most disgusting lie of all. The claim that Hamas militants beheaded babies on October 7th. High-level Israeli officials spread this story worldwide. It dominated headline. It was used to justify everything that came after. Here's the problem. It never happened. When investigators actually looked for evidence, medical record, forensic analysis, witness testimonies, they found absolutely nothing. Zero evidence. The claim originated in a social media rumor and was eventually retracted by Israeli army's spokespeople. But only after it had already done its job, convincing the world that they were fighting a monster. This worked so easily because the West, especially America, had already spent decades spreading Islamophobic propaganda, painting Muslims and the Middle East as inherently barbaric and savage. The groundwork for believing these lies had already been laid. Then came the babies in oven lie. Another horrific story designed to dehumanize Palestinians and justify the massive retaliation. This one was traced back to a single social media post. You start to see the pattern. No evidence, no witnesses, no bodies, just pure propaganda. And when Palestinian children actually were being killed, shot in the head by Israel, their official, had the audacity to claim that some armed group were responsible. United Nations investigation proved the opposite, that those headshots came from snipers of the IDF. Hospitals are supposed to be protected under international law. So when Israel wanted to bomb them, they needed, justification. We entered the lie machine. Shifa Hospital, Gaza's largest medical facility, was supposedly Hamas' main military headquarters with weapons stockpiles throughout the building. This lie was repeated by Israel officials, amplified by Western media, and used to justify turning Gaza's biggest hospital into a war zone. The truth, when the United Nations officials, World Health Organization investigators, and independent reporter finally got inside, they found no weapons, no stockpiles in civilian spaces, no military headquarters, just a hospital trying to heal the wounded, all the civilians under impossible condition. But Israel wasn't done lying about hospitals. Indonesian hospital was booby-trapped, quote-unquote, by Hamas, except UN investigators found no explosive. Imagine. Al-Auda hospital was supposedly being used for missile launcher, but the analysis proved that the shrapnel came from Israeli artillery. Hamad Hospital was claimed to house Palestinian gunmen. UNRWA and WHO investigation found it was civilian only. The most pathetic lie. At Rantizi Hospital, Israel held up what they claimed was a Hamas death list, disguised as a calendar. They paraded this evidence in front of international media. It was immediately obvious to anyone who could actually read the language that it was just a hospital shift roster, literally work schedule for medical staff. No investigation needed, and this is what we're dealing with. This wasn't random misinformation. This was systematic, calculated deception designed to justify war crime. Let's look at the pattern. Israel claimed they found mass graves where Hamas had buried dozens of executed Israelis near Khan Yunis. International headlines run with the story. Satellite imagery and ground investigation found no grave sites. None. The bodies they claimed were buried, they were never found because the grave themselves never existed. They publicized discovery of massive Hamas tunnel network under civilian cemeteries, complete with satellite images and military briefings. When independent engineers actually excavated the sites, they found nothing. No tunnels, no shaft, nothing. These psychopaths quietly retracted these claims, but only after they served their propaganda purpose. They had the audacity to claim Hamas was using white phosphorus against civilians, while at the exact same time, multiple human rights organizations were documenting that Israel dropping white phosphorus munition on densely populated neighborhoods. They weren't just lying about what Hamas was doing, they were projecting their own war crimes onto their victims. Here's where it gets really sinister. When journalists tried to document what was actually happening in Gaza, Israel did what any regime hiding war crime does. They systematically hunted down those journalists, these truth tellers. Israel killed 242 journalists during this conflict, making it the deadliest period for media workers in modern history. But killing them wasn't enough. They had to destroy their reputation too. They claimed 0 civilian journalists had been killed, labeling every single murder reporter as combatant or terrorist, whatever that means. Every single one of these journalists was a civilian doing their job. None were documented as having any ties to Hamas or any armed group. They were killed for one reason and one reason only: telling the truth. Israel won't bury it. Take the World Central Kitchen incident, where Israelis airstrike killed aid worker, clearly market worker. Initially, Israel said these humanitarian workers were part of a terrorist logistics. Complete fabrication. The workers were clearly identified, registered with the United Nations agency, and had 0 ties to armed or resistance groups. The military eventually admitted it was an error, but only after spreading lies about the victims. Or consider Hind Rajab, a Palestinian woman Israeli sources claim it was killed by her own people. Video analysis and eyewitness testimony proved she was shot by Israeli tank fire while fleeing with her children. But the lie served its purpose, deflecting blame for killing civilians. And this is a characteristic of the West, always blame shifting. This might be the cruelest lie of all. Israeli officials repeatedly announced humanitarian safe zone for Palestinians in Gaza. They told families to evacuate to this area for their safety. International media praised Israel for creating these protected spaces. But guess what happened? Investigation revealed that the majority of these safe zones were later subjected to Israeli bombs and missiles and air bombardment, literally dropping bombs on tents. They created kill zone, told people to gather there, then bombed them anyway. When those people were killed, the savages in the IDF blamed them for not leaving fast enough. Imagine. Or they just claimed that Hamas was using them as human shield. How many times you heard that? Video evidence showed unarmed families waving white flags with no Hamas fighters present. Israel later admitted to misfires, but only after blaming the victim. Same shit, same pattern. So while we watch it, Palestinians literally starving in real time on our phones, computers and TV screens, families fighting over scraps of bread, people trying to eat grass or dirt to survive. Motherfuckers looked straight into the camera and denied it was happening. They're still doing it today with a straight face. United Nations agencies themselves were reporting acute food insecurity approaching famine level in multiple districts. They claimed that Hamas was systematically stealing all international aid, all the food, all the medical supplies stolen by Hamas. The investigation later on showed some diversion at checkpoint levels. Well, first of all, we don't know who these people stealing. These need to be verified, but no evidence of large-scale Hamas just stealing everything. Israeli briefings claimed they had killed over 13,000 Hamas fighters, a number designed to show massive military success and justify the scale of the destruction in Gaza. Independent analysts examining actual recovered bodies and prisoners' counts estimated militant fatalities closer to 3,000 or 4,000. Israel inflated their success number by more than 300% to justify killing over 65,000 Palestinians. These inflated numbers were used in briefings to international leaders, in justification to allied governments, and in propaganda campaign to maintain support for the military operation. What we've documented here isn't confusing. This isn't a mistake in the heat of battle. This is systematic, calculated deception designed to justify war crimes, cover up civilian casualties, and maintain international support for mass killing. Every single one of these lies served a strategic purpose: justify bombing hospital, excuse civilian casualty, deflect blame for war crime, or maintain the narrative that Israel was the victim defending itself. The mainstream media that repeated these lies without verification, the politician who cited them to justify unconditional support, the social media platform that amplified all these bullshit, they all became part of this propaganda machine. But here's what should really disturb you. Your government is actively supporting this. They're sending the weapons, providing the funding, and offering diplomatic cover for every lie we just exposed. They know the truth. They have the same intelligence report, the same independent investigation, yet they choose to support it anyway. So ask yourself this: if you disapprove of this systematic deception, war crimes, and the mass killings of civilians, have you been born in the wrong society?